Hello, everyone. I was just wanting to make a little summary of my sheriff candidacy and what it was like running for sheriff. So, I do a lot of stuff locally here, politically, and I'm involved in local politics a little bit. And I saw some problems, and I see some very major problems with the system as a whole. And it's not just here; it's everywhere, all over the U.S. There's flaws in the system, and it allows corruption and nepotism, and there's just flaws that need to be addressed. And so instead of just complaining about it, being negative and not providing any solutions, I thought real hard about it and just came up with the best solutions I could come up with. And I asked the community for any ideas to add to it, and I'm trying to fix the problems I see and be the change I want to see. And so I went ahead and paid $100 to run for sheriff because I see that sheriff has the ultimate power in a community. They decide a lot more what goes on in the community than what you think, and at the bottom line, everything pretty much goes through them. So they are the interpreters of the system and the interpreters for justice and the middlemen for justice and peace and our community. So yeah, I see that as basically the most important job in the community, in the local county where we live, is the sheriff, because like I said, they have the most power. So I decided to run for that, knowing that I couldn't win. I paid the $100, I filled out the paperwork, and I put myself out there. And the whole time I didn't want to win. I knew I couldn't win. There was no idea of me ever winning in any of this. The whole point of me doing it was to try and just share these ideas and get them out there, and to just try and help the community. That's all I'm trying to do. It doesn't have anything to do with me or anything else. I'm basically jumping on the grenade to try and help, and just it's really hard to put myself out here in such a manner, and it has caused me nothing but heartache. So it's not something that I want to do. It's just something that I feel I have to do. I want to try and help the world, and I want to try and help make the world better for my kids. And I made a promise to my little boy that passed away that I would. So it's just part of this desire in me to keep my promise and do what I can to help make the world better. So that's basically what I've been doing and why I did it. From there, I guess I can kind of explain what I've seen or what I've seen since running. It's a stressful ordeal, and the primaries are where politics are run completely, really, if we think about it, because that's where you decide who gets in and who gets out, and that's where the most corruption and manipulation in the system goes, as far as I have seen. And when you get in there and do it, you learn a lot more, you know. As far as what I've seen running for sheriff, I see the same 200 people running everything, and it's like that in every county. I was a Ron Paul supporter, and I saw that Morgan County, it was the same 200 people, all your elected officials, and those people pretty much run everything. There's clubs and whatever, state you're in or community you're in, there's going to be a predominant one. If you're in a Democratic area, it'll be a Democrat club. If you're in a Republican, it's a Republican club. And that's the way it is around here. Democrats don't even run on the ticket because they know Republicans will win. So what you get is however many candidates put themselves out there, and they go to the primary, and then the Republicans elect who they want as their forerunner, and that's what the primaries are. And then from that vote happens in August, and then in November the main vote happens between the Democrat and the Republican and the Libertarian and everybody. So that's basically how your system works. But in the primaries, there's so much ability for it to be run by groups. And when I say groups, I mean like pretty much the local Republican club around here runs everything. And so if they support a candidate, that's usually the candidate that's going to win. And there's a lot of other organizations that get together, and they'll support their main candidate. And that's, once again, pretty much the way I see politics working, is that the general public has no idea what's going on. They don't keep up. They don't have a clue. But they'll ask their friends that are, and they're like, hey, what do you know? And so it goes back to these same 200 people, or maybe road signs and stuff like that. But they have all the pull and all the power in the county, and that's just the way it's set up everywhere, and that's the way everything works. And just from my perspective, I could see how these entities could keep power and stay in power behind the scenes for a long time, and how the system could be manipulated. I'm not saying that's happening here. I just see that there's the door and opportunity for it to happen. So ultimately, the main reason I have ran is because I saw the possibility for police officers. I mean, it's 100% a law, even qualified immunity, to where police officers don't have to be held accountable for their actions, and to where politicians and people who are connected can do what they want. And I think that that's a problem. And when I say they can do what they want, it's because ultimately everything goes through a prosecuting attorney in the county, and the prosecutor has just as much power as the sheriff. I guess I should say the prosecutor has ultimate power as far as the justice goes, as far as carrying it out. The prosecutor and the sheriff are the two most powerful people in the county. That's no doubt about that. Because the sheriff will go and bring the people accountable to the prosecutor, and then it's the prosecutor's ability to decide to look at a case and go, oh, well, I don't want to do this, and I'll just throw this out. And they can do that with anyone. And that's on the police side of things or the prosecuting side of things. The police have the ability to go to one of their buddies and say, you know what, you're my buddy, I'm not going to give you a ticket. And that leaves the door open for justice to be manipulated and not found, for there to be a lack of justice to where people have been harmed. And I personally have had a lot of people reach out to me. So many people reach out to me and tell me heartbreaking stories of major crimes that were committed against them, and they could do nothing because the people were connected. And it made me nauseous. It made me sick to have all the weight of this world on my shoulders, and people are wanting me to help them and stuff, and I can't even barely keep myself out of trouble just because I'm trying to, speak out. And through speaking out, I've been banned from the courthouse illegally, banned from county meetings. I've been banned from the school. I've been banned from the health department. They banned me from speaking out. So how am I going to be able to take on people for serious, major charges that are gut-wrenching? How am I going to take on people in power that have manipulated the system to keep them from getting in trouble? When I'm doing all I can to just keep myself from being in trouble for just speaking about it. So that led me to figuring out the justice box and the camera, and that this camera right here and keeping everything public the entire time is the answer. I've thought about it long and hard, and it just public, keeping everything in the public's hands and keeping everything out in the open is always going to be the answer on how to fix everything. And so I created a justice box to where anybody at any time can go put a case in a file on the courthouse steps or on the side of the courthouse, and it's on camera feed all the time, so we know that nobody messes with it. And anybody can put a file in there anytime, and anybody in the community who wants to be a part of it puts their name into a drawing, and once a month we draw numbers like bingo and get 10 people to open up this box. And if a majority of them, let's say eight of these people vote that this case should go to trial, it bypasses the police and it bypasses the prosecutor, and then due process still has a chance to happen, because that's fundamental to our system and to freedom and to everything that we do in the Constitution. But we just got to have a way of checks and balances. That's what all I'm getting at is the system is flawed in certain places, and we got to address it. It's not the end of the world. It's just saying, oh, well, that's kind of broken there. Let's figure out a way to fix it and put it in a system of checks and balances. And that's what I am proposing, is a system for checks and balances, and for people to just morally look at a case and go, you know what? There's enough evidence here to say this should be something. And then it goes and it's a public trial from there. And I think that would be a great system of checks and balances. It would eliminate corruption. It would eliminate nepotism, and it would allow a truly fair and just justice system. And I think that we have to strive for that if we ever hope to truly achieve justice. And it's a phenomenal idea, and we have to do some form of that. And that's basically my main idea that I'm wanting to create, because that would stop corruption and people in power breaking the law everywhere, in every town, anytime, any town, everywhere can take this. I can't go and fight battles in every city, in every county, in every town all across the U.S. or the world. I can't do that and take on every powerful person ever. But the people who have been harmed, if it hurts them enough and they want justice enough, you know what? They can. And they can speak out, and they can stand up, and they can do it themselves and stand up and say, look, here's this case, I've been wronged, please help me. And that's all what this is about. That's all that I'm trying to do is help justice for the people that have been harmed. And I know I can't do it. They'll find a way to silence me one way or the other, and I'll never make it so far, and I'll have a life destined for heartache and terribleness. So that's what I'm just trying to do, is just create this idea to where people can go do it themselves. And if you've been harmed and are hurt in this world, you can go seek justice, and you can't be silenced. And I think that's what the major thing we have to do here is. Like I said, I seen it firsthand when I was going with the school thing. I had a police officer look me in the eye and tell me he would have to talk to the prosecutor before filing charges against the superintendent, who knew that a crime had been committed. There was a janitor who got caught exposing himself to kids while he was, masturbating, and he got caught doing it and moved to different schools and younger schools, and he got found guilty of this. At the time when I made a stink about the superintendent knowing, he hadn't been found guilty yet, but according to law and statute, the superintendent was supposed to report it, and he didn't, so therefore he committed a crime. And nobody would do anything about it. The sheriff's office wouldn't do anything about it. Local police wouldn't do anything about it. And I finally stood on Jeff Beecham and said, hey, please, it seems like you're the one that has to file charges against this man. And he said, well, I'd have to talk to the prosecutor first, which means that has given somebody special privileges. They wouldn't do that. If I got pulled over down the road for speeding, they wouldn't call the prosecutor and be like, hey, should I give Josh a ticket or not? No, that's not how that works. So that immediately shows nepotism and special treatment right there off the start. And from there, that he never got held accountable. And in my eyes, when he didn't fire that guy and let everybody know, hey, this happened the first time it happened, that superintendent was responsible for the second and third time it happened. And my kids were in both schools it happened. He moved them from middle school to younger school. I'm fifth and sixth grade, and I don't know if my boys could have went in the bathroom when he was doing that. And I just the fact that he let it continue, I think he needs held responsible, and the system never did it. And they never even cared, and it just allowed to perpetuate. He got fired as superintendent, but then he got rehired and now works for Climax Springs. So how he can maintain and keep a job again in the system again is beyond me. I don't understand how that works. I don't understand what's happening, but yeah. So there's clearly the ability for corruption, much less the multiple people that came and told me individual stories from their lives on terrible accounts of terrible things where they had been victimized in major ways, and the system did nothing because the people who were their aggressors were connected. And obviously this is a problem that happens everywhere. It's not just here. It's not just right here. It's a everywhere problem. I promise you, it's happening every county, everywhere. So that's the reason I ran. That's my idea to fix the solution And from there, we just got to put in our right people locally. And I think that people really need to get more connected locally with your local politics, because this right here is where it matters. The federal scene is just all divide and conquer. And the more they can keep us divided, the more power they have over us. And they want us to fight. They want us to argue, and it's all an illusion. And we can't control any of that, but ultimately we can control right here where we're standing. We can control our communities. We can bring our communities up and make them better than ever. I personally feel we need to secede from the federal government and do what's called a home rule charter, pass a petition, put in a home rule charter where we let the local community decide what they want, and basically put our own ways of life in place. And I think that is the answer, is just focus on local communities and make them as strong as we can. And so with that, we need to ensure these election processes are open and fair, and we get the best elected official possible. What I wanted to do was have an open sit-down meeting between all the candidates where they discuss ideas and solutions that they have for the community openly, instead of just throwing mud and being angry and just talking terrible. Let's talk ideas and solutions that we have, and throw them back and forth, and let the community see who has the best ideas and who can present their ideas the best, and go from there. And I think that would help the community a lot, and also see who handles himself best under pressure in an intense scenario. And I think that a scenario like that would be a really beneficial thing. Me and Brian Butts were able to do it. All the other sheriff's candidates at one point said they would, but they all backed out. But Brian was the only one that had the courage to do it, and I can't tell him how much I appreciate it. But you can go through my other YouTube videos and find me and his interview, and I think it's just a phenomenal thing. Just imagine if all the other candidates sat down with us, and if every candidate everywhere on every level of politics did that. Imagine how beneficial it would be. And then from there, maybe a political resume to where we just all fill out everything, our stances on everything, what we plan in the future, our history, everything there is to possibly know. We just write it all out and have it on a public resume. And even from there, have it on the internet and some kind of forum where the candidates can actually interact with the people. So if the people have a question, the candidates can answer it, and everybody can see how the candidate answered. And I think that that's important as well, because it would create a lot of openness and transparency all throughout the government. And then it would also give us something to stand on, because we can look back at their history and say, hey, look, this is what you said you'd do, and you didn't do that at all. You lied. So that would also help as well. And it would also give the candidates an ability to interact with each other, and we could see that as well. So I think those are the major things that would fix our election system and make things better here on a local level. And like I said, I'm just trying to create ideas to help the world. And then from there, I think our police should focus a lot more on solving crimes instead of pulling people over and basically harassing people for no victim, no crime laws. And I think that's a problem. There's a lot of people being harmed out there and not getting retribution and justice for being harmed, because the police just don't have enough time. But the resources are being spent on stuff that it's not hurting anyone, but it generates revenue for the court. The one that really gets me the most is insurance. I believe we have the Constitution. I know is our greatest document that we have, and it says we have the ability of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And my pursuit of happiness involves being able to freely travel and move around the country. And if I have to pay a major corporation hundreds of dollars before I can freely travel, well, that right has been taken from me. So I feel insurance is a total and complete scam. It's just like health insurance. A lot of people understand that health insurance is basically like a tax, and we should have the freedom to decide what we want to do. Now, some people may think that, oh, it makes the world dangerous and stuff, but ultimately, if you get a loan on your car, you got to pay insurance. The bank wants you to pay insurance. If you have something nice, if I've ever have something nice, I put full coverage insurance because it's my responsibility, my stuff, I'm worried about it. But I've also been so poor that I couldn't afford to get by as a single dad with kids and having just enough money, driving a car that's $1,500 and insurance being $200. I know younger kids, some kids that even have kids, they may pay $1,500 for a car and then pay $230 a month for insurance. And in 6 months, you're going to pay more in insurance than you paid for your entire car. And when you have to choose between electricity or the ability to freely move and go work, around here where I'm at, you have to have a car in order to work. The roads, the cities are set up so far apart, you couldn't survive without a car. Easily. I mean, you can do it, but it's very, very, very difficult, and it creates so many obstacles, especially with kids and stuff. I mean, you got just so much stuff to do. So once again, I feel that my freedom has been taken from me, my constitutional right, and I represent myself in court, and I take stuff like this to jury trial. It usually never ends up going. It gets thrown out. Currently, they're trying to actually prove my innocence. I'm going to probably break down a video on that. But the court, instead of trying to prove me guilty, they're now trying to prove me innocent. It's a complete flip. It's pretty funny almost. But I just, I think that our freedoms are paramount, and the freedom to travel is paramount. And if a person is poor and doesn't have the ability to provide for their, or are struggling providing for their kids and food and electric and all that, when they're forced to pay insurance for a crime they didn't commit, that's wrong. And we should just play it to where if you've been in an accident, then you go to court and things happen from there. I mean, if you don't have the money, you lose your license and stuff, but then you've harmed somebody and you are held accountable for your actions. But until you've actually harmed somebody, you shouldn't be forced to pay money, and that's like a fine. I mean, even going to insurance, even going and getting an insurance ticket is cheaper than paying for insurance. I mean, the fine is cheaper, but what are you going to do? I go and I see a courtroom full of people paying an insurance that they don't have insurance, and all of them are poor and struggling, and the punishment for them is more money, and it just defies logic. It doesn't seem like a fair or just system, especially when money is the punishment, when money means different for everybody. Somebody that's making a bunch of money, like a doctor or something, $100 fine is insignificant to him, but $100 fine for somebody that's struggling to get by is a very big deal. So money is not on the same punishment for everybody, so that's not justice either. And I'm just wanting to get back to, instead of trying to bubble wrap the world and pre-crime everything, just hold people accountable for their actions, and let's focus on that and apply all our resources towards that. And that's just me and my personal thoughts on everything. I like to focus more on the justice box and on the politicians being able to have a sit and an open conversation. But as far as my personal thoughts on what to do to fix the sheriff's, the justice system a little bit, that would be something we need to focus more on. Instead of money, just strive for justice for those who have been harmed. From there, I guess that's pretty much it. Maybe ease the burden. I got another idea to help ease the burden a little bit for the police officers, and maybe start a volunteer police resource in communities to where they can help get responses faster, and maybe just bring the community together a little bit more. We can help solve crimes and help do stuff as a community, and work together to do all we can to just help each other and bring each other up. So we do it pretty good here, and it's just something that needs to be strived for. So I guess that's my breakdown on the system and what I've seen from the inside, I guess, and why I'm doing everything I'm doing, and just how I perceive things. But no matter what, I feel my justice box is a major solution above everything else. Please, guys, just look at my justice box and realize that is the way to put a form of checks and balances in to stop corruption and to stop nepotism, and we could really fix things all over the world. All the powerful people that are committing crimes, we could hold them accountable and put it out publicly. I've had people say, well, Josh, why do you want to record all the time? How come you want to record everything? It's because when you put it in the public, you can't change it. You can't manipulate the facts. You can't manipulate everything to be your perspective. When it's all public and in the open, you can't control the narrative. It's up to the people to decide. It's to the public. And I think that's the major problem in politics, is that either side, no matter who it is, even people running, all they want is the power for themselves or for their side. Everybody's just fighting for the power and the control, and nobody's fighting to give the power to the people and to keep it open. They just want it all for themselves, and I think that's the major problem, is that we need to get connected to where the people are more in control and to where everything's more open, to where the people can see everything. And so that's why I want to record. If anybody wants to know why I'm always recording, it's because it lets the people decide and it keeps everything honest and open. I just wish the community was more connected. Like I said, when it came time to vote for the primary, I saw a lot of the local community didn't know who to vote for or know what's going on, and it's the same thing. You know, they go and they ask the people that are, and those people kind of control the mentalities of a lot of people and all the road signs and stuff. And I think we could change the way politics are done a little bit, clean it up, make it better. But yeah, that's just how the political system works through my eyes and through what I've seen. Anything in life, I just go and do, and I'm not scared to fail. And I know I'll fail. That's the difference, is that I like to try new things and I like to do different stuff, and I'm not scared of anything in this world. So I just go dive in with both feet, knowing I'm going to fail and mess up so bad. And through that comes wisdom, because I learn, and I'm not going to fail forever. So I'll fail and skin my knees, but I'll keep going, and I'll always get back up, and I'll always learn from my experiences. So jumping in and running for sheriff was definitely an experience, and I still am. Like I said, I'm still going to write myself in still put myself in as a write-in candidate, just to strictly send a message to the federal government, because they know my ideas. I'm not hiding it from anybody. I'm not going to say that they know, but I've put my book into some pretty powerful people's hands, and I am not shy about hiding what I think, or about saying what I think, and I just put it all out there. And I think the federal government's a complete and total waste. I think we're run by criminals, and I personally refuse to be an accessory to those criminals anymore. I've drawn a personal line in the sand and said I will not be an accessory to your guys' crimes anymore. I will not fund you guys. I will not pay my taxes, my income taxes, and I'm not going to allow this criminal activity that I see from my federal government to continue. From my aspect, I'm not going to be a part of it. Legally speaking, from a sheriff's point of view, an accessory, if you help pay for a crime to be committed, you're an accessory to a crime. And through my eyes, all I have to do is prove that the federal government's committing a crime, and from there I don't have to be an accessory. So I have a little different perspective than most, but I am standing up for what I believe in, and I'm trying to do something to help, and people may not agree with me, but I'll definitely always peacefully sit down and discuss it, and that includes in a courtroom setting. I'm not scared in any way, shape, or form to take this to a jury trial and represent myself and say I morally refuse to pay politicians to commit these crimes anymore. So like I said, I'm a little different character, and that's ultimately where I'm at. But a vote for me is a vote to just basically tell the government how we feel and that we've just had enough. And so that's where I'm at with everything. I appreciate everybody keeping up. Thank you guys very much. I want to keep doing videos. It's been a little hard. I had a little inner struggles to go with. I kind of put a hold off on everything for a while, but I want to brush myself off and keep going and keep making videos one a day for a whole entire year. So I'll be going until May 2nd next year. I appreciate everybody keeping up. Thank you guys very much, and yeah, thanks guys.